Hey folks, how you doing today? All right, this is Dr. Jim Gishwin here. I don't know why I'm smiling. A lot of things going on right now. We're on the precipice of World War III. What the heck are all these NATO allies sitting there pounding the drums about getting Ukraine into NATO? Their own charter says that the country cannot be at war to join NATO. And they already know Putin said he'd go nuclear if Ukraine went NATO. He's been saying that for 3 decades at least. And if you think he's going to stop at Ukraine, think again. This man was a KGB head, okay? He's a devout communist. No one ever said he stopped being a communist just because the communist government fell over there. All right? And in his speeches, and in some of his foreign minister speeches, they've been talking about Finland and the Baltic states and Poland. So remember what the NATO Charter says. An attack on one is an attack on all. And not only that, we got our own Secretary of State sitting there beating the drum about putting Ukraine in NATO. What the heck got into him? It must be the same poison had gotten to all these students at Columbia and all these other campuses, and they're all being funded by an international Muslim organization. They are. It's being funneled to them. These are not student protesters, okay? These aren't, boards sitting there bought in the school supply store with a magic marker written all over them. No. Where did they get all these uniform shirts and stuff? Okay? There's some money being funneled into this, folks. Follow the money. Always follow the money. And as far as the progressives and the Marxists and communists and socialists go, it's always been about the ends justify the means. You remember the 45 things that they said in 1963, the International Communist Forum said it would take to sit there and take over the United States. They've done about 25 of them already, okay? Including our institutions, discrediting the FBI, upholding things like pornography and abortion and things like that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, the schools, the media. They've done all the right things, and their puppet and the puppet master that said he would change America, okay, are doing everything possible to... Where is the outrage? Where is the outrage? Where is the president sitting there saying, this is not right, anti-Semitism on the campus is not right? If it was Trump, it would be that way. He's got a, son-in-law that's Jewish. Okay? Oh, my God. And they sit there and say, he's racist. Look at this stuff. They're doing everything they can to divide us. That is their whole purpose, folks. Divide us. And they will divide us any which way they can. By gender. Okay? By obscenity. By pro-life versus no-life, late-term abortions, the baby's born, and you sit there and decide whether or not to kill it? That's infanticide, for God's sake. Our morals are going downhill fast with the help of the International Communist Committee and the World Economic Forum, the globalists. Where do you think the communists went when the Soviet Union fell? They went into the globalist community. This community that is behind the World Economic Forum. The ones that want to put chips in your stomach to determine what you want to eat. The ones that want to put chips in you to sit there and track your carbon footprint. Come on, people, wake up. This administration has discarded the Constitution left and right. Excessive bail bonds, that's Articles 7, 8, or 9. I don't know, I forgot. Okay, and this lawfare that's going on. There's absolute coordination, and it's been proven. There's visitor logs in the White House. There's visitor logs in the DOJ. Everyone can see them, and they're public. And they're sitting there trying to get the President Trump on things that every other president did. He sat there and had his stuff secure. They scattered it on the floor to sit there and take a picture of it, for God's sake. And now they're sitting there trying to strip him of a Secret Service thing. They're trying to kill him. They will do anything to stop him, because they know he is an unmovable force. And he's a force for us. These are your liberties and stuff. If they can take his liberties away, they sure as hell can take yours away. And don't you ever forget it. It's all about power and control. Power and control. I tell my students this all the time. In civics and the government, I said, when you go through life, there'll always be a struggle of power and control between you and forces above you that are oppressing you. The only thing that you have on your side is the Constitution and God. When I was asked to do a prayer the other day, all I said was, God help. God help. You gave us this country. This country is built on God, guts, and guns. Please, don't take yourself out of the equation. We need you in the equation. Guts and guns ain't going to do it. Your vote will do it. And that takes guts too, because they'll cancel you. They'll harass you, just like they're harassing the Jewish people on these campuses. And where's the National Guard? Why hasn't the president offered the National Guard? And why haven't we stopped giving money to these campuses? And why haven't we and the FBI sits there and says, it's not our problem? We don't monitor things on campus like that. We just share intelligence. What is intelligence? That's monitoring, you idiots. And they're going to sit there and tell you, okay, that this is all peaceful protest and this is all cool. When have you ever seen all these different flags of foreign countries being waved in our Congress? Why aren't these people that are saying death to America being picked up on the street? Are they American citizens? If they're not, deport them. They're here. They're here out of the grace of God and our kindness. These students on student visas, cancel their visas, send them home. There's already, I think it was Kraft, okay, stopping his donations to the campuses, okay, and he's a billionaire, and he's not the only one. Parents, when your kids are going to go to college, and I wouldn't even recommend college anymore with so many campuses doing this, unless it's something like Hillsdale or somewhere in Florida where the government actually cares. They cannot protect their students. National Guard time. Okay? And President Trump would have done it in a heartbeat. And the FBI would have been directed to sit there and check on whether or not these were agitators or actual students, and if they were foreign students, deport their young butts, cancel their student visas, and send them home. We don't need to be doing this, okay? Our country is at the tail end of a long and glorious history. We can't let it fade away into the twilight. We can't let this happen. God help us. God help us. That's the only help we can get. But you have to sit there and be an instrument of God. You have to be a warrior for God to protect this country. You have to sit there and take your vote seriously and turn this thing around. I've told you before, as a history person, history buff, and who teaches history, I've passed all my teacher exams. The average length of a great country is about 350 years. We're getting towards the tail end of it, folks. Don't let it go away. The Constitution is not out of date. That's why you have amendments. We have X number of states, and we're getting close to sitting there being able to have another constitutional convention. We just need, what, two-thirds? Two-thirds of them, yeah. We got 26. We need some more that are sitting there and said, yes, we want a constitutional convention. That's another way that amendments get done. And as far as Trump on this 6th January thing, he said peacefully. They sat there and ignored it. And they showed us the tapes of all these people walking in and just wandering around with the guards escorting them. Okay? It was only a small minority of these people, agitators, probably from the FBI, that were causing the trouble. And why haven't they investigated the bomb things over at DNC, where the vice president was? Even though they may have been fake or training bombs, planted probably by the FBI. To sit there and, these are false flag operations, to sit there and make you look like an idiot. Just remember, when you're in these demonstrations and things like that for Trump or anyone else, showing your patriotism and stuff, be aware of other people in the crowd that may have ulterior motives. Remember, the Marxist, progressive, communist thing is the means, the end justifies the means. Always. It's all about power. And what worries me is I will not put it past these people to sit there and come up with some stupid thing in October, martial law or something, to prevent people from voting. They are not going to go peacefully into the night. Beware, folks, and be prayerful. Okay? Take your vote. Do the vote. I'm already registered to sit there and be a poll worker. Paid poll worker. Oh, I kind of like that. And I'm also going to be a counselor up at Boys State. I told them that I was not going to contribute a sponsorship next year if we can get a decent person out of Lighthouse Private Christian Academy, which graduates 200 people, for God's sake. Lordy, they don't even realize that Boy State, Girl State is what these interview people look for when they're interviewing for an academy. So it's important for these kids. I was lucky enough to select one from Gulf Breeze High that went on to Boys Nation. He's still up at Harvard. He's not one of those, okay. He's sitting there holding the line, okay. He remembers what I taught him. Anyway, you have a great day. Please, prayers, okay. We got Biden sitting there giving money to both sides, for God's sake. If you think that any of our sanctions are working, forget it. We're buying Russian oil, but just buying it through India. And meanwhile, Biden's son is still sitting on that Chinese oil board. It just you can't make it up. You can't make it up. And they got a gag order on this man, and yet the people that are witnesses and stuff have blogs and stuff and can say anything they want, and he's not allowed to say a thing. And he's denying that. He is denying that, and I don't blame him. This whole thing is a made-up thing just because he sat there and put the expenditure in a non-disclosure agreement is not illegal. And the judge should sit there and tell the jury that. Of course, he probably won't. He's not allowed. He hasn't allowed the defense to do just about anything. Okay, just because he put it in the wrong section as a legal expense. Okay, what can you say? And that's not Trump that did it. You know, he has bookkeepers that do that stuff. He doesn't know what column they put it in. It wasn't put in as a campaign expense. That much we all know. So there's no case. And all these experts are saying there's no case. But that hasn't deterred them. And of course, one of the prosecutors came down, left his job as a number 3 or number 4 man in the Department of Justice just to be a prosecutor for this. Okay? Who would sit there and leave such a power paying job to sit there and come down to a state court for this stupid case that everyone passed on before? DOJ passed on it. Even Alvin Bragg passed on it till he was pressured to sit there and take it up. And of course, the Washington, D.C. case is just falling apart completely. And so is the Georgia case. We shall see. A lot of prayers, folks. Join me in a prayer. Dear God, please help us. We need your help. We need your salvation. We are only tools in your hand. Please guide us correctly. We ask this in your name, Lord. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great evening. Take care.